Hello, my name is Isaac Hilliker. This is my final project presentation for Python 2. This is a simple weather app that utilizes the current weather map API. All it does is it takes three cities, three states. It'll get their current, the most up-to-date weather, and return a heat map of it so we can build correlation between the data. This is, in a real life big application, it would make more sense, of course, to have a lot more than just three samples to choose from, but just to keep it simple for this project, that is how we're going to do it. So I'm going to run the program first to show you how to, input data and then show you what its output would be. So I'm going to just click run here real quick. In the console, it's going to ask me for a city. So I'm just going to, using correct spelling or correct grammar and all that, I'm going to say Des Moines, and then we put in the state code, which is a two-letter abbreviation. So IA is for Iowa. So that worked. So that's our first city-state combination. And then let's do a state with very different weather. So I'm going to say Miami. I'm going to put some weird capitalization there. Miami is in Florida, so I'm going to say lowercase f, uppercase L, see if that works. It does. All right, good. And then Los Angeles will be the next city. I'm actually going to do the same thing here and do some weird punctuation just to make sure it works. And then California is CA. We'll do all lowercase. All right, so that worked. So as you can see, just kind of use some of this validation here. I put, capital MI at the end of Miami, but you can see that every single city is uppercase here. That's because behind the scenes I have made it so all user input is transmitted to uppercase, not just because it's more readable, because if a user does input some weird input like this, it'll just be more readable after the fact. Plus, the state abbreviations are being chosen from a list of the states, and they are stored as capital letters. So it's especially important for the state code to be capitalized when the user inputs it, which is why I want to do that conversion for them. So, all right. So the first thing that we're gonna see here, this heat map here, is to build correlation. So Des Moines is on the top, Miami in the middle, Los Angeles on the bottom. We immediately see that current. So this is current. This is as of right now on May 1st. So Los Angeles, funny enough, has a very similar temperature to Des Moines, which is a little odd. So that was not what I was expecting data-wise, but that's what it is. Otherwise, Miami is basically what I expected, a lot warmer. It is the most humid out of the places listed, with Los Angeles being the second most humid. And then Des Moines is clear skies right now, so that's a cloudiness rating of 0. So typically what you can do is the biggest correlation I found with this particular thing is between temperature and humidity. Typically places that have a higher temperature also have a higher humidity. And while Los Angeles is pretty cool right now by their standards, they still have a higher humidity than where we are in Des Moines right now. That'll probably change as we get warmer throughout the summer. It's also pretty cloudy in Los Angeles right now too, so maybe that is playing a role. It is also cloudier in Miami right now than it is in Des Moines. So, but that is the general idea of the program. So you can input any U.S. city and U.S. state combination. The state codes will be validated by my program. The weather map API will kind of use its best judgment, assuming you make a mistake with making the city. So if you put Des Moines in no state, it'll usually default to Iowa, and if not that, it'll default to Washington State, because that seems to be the most other popular Des Moines city. So looking at the code, it's not super complicated. I have a city class here, which has the name, state name, and state code attributes. This valid state codes are a Python list that I have of all 50 states and their respective state codes. That is how I am able to do the validation. So you can see that's what I'm doing here. I put the user in a while loop when this method is run. And if their input is not inside of this list, then it's going to shoot back another input prompt and say, hey, that's not valid. Please do it again. So very simple. As you can see, I'm using Pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, Seaborn. Seaborn is making the heat map. And then requests, which is to contact the API and make a request. So I've got my API key. I have an empty list called cities, and I have my data dictionary that I'm going to be filling up when I get a JSON file back from the API. So we're going to get the city name, we're going to get the state code. We're doing this in a for loop so that we get 3 different cities here, which is in the first part when we first turn on the program. And then we're using another for loop, which is going to make 3 requests based on how many cities are in the, where is it here? City, oh, here, sorry, cities. My cities list. So depending on how many cities are in there, which will be 3, it's going to make 3 requests to the API. It's going to look for the city name and the state code, and it's going to shoot back all of this data here that I'm requesting, specifically temperature, humidity, wind speed, and cloudiness. Then I'm going to use Pandas to make my data frame and get everything boxed up. I'm going to create the heat map using the, oh gosh, I'm forgetting its name, Seaborn module. And we're going to use the Matplotlib to show this. And then you may have seen it in my console when I first ran the program. I'm also going to print the mean temperature and the max wind speed out of all of them using NumPy. So very simple. The big challenge I ran into, this is kind of funny with this project. When I initially started this project, it was a flight cost calculator, and unfortunately I realized it's too late that the API I was using, I was trying to use services that I had to pay for, and I didn't realize that, and it was too late. So by the time I realized what was wrong and all this stuff, I had to kind of switch projects. So I didn't want to not submit anything, so I wanted to make sure I had 8 programs that still utilized a lot of what we had learned in class. So it might be a little simple, but you know, it's better than nothing for sure. So the biggest challenge though was just getting the API to work. Is reading through the documentation, making sure I'm actually, you know, grabbing the correct data from it and doing it, you know, in a valid format. So plus using Seaborn, which is, you know, not very complicated here, but I was a little intimidated. But I wanted to do something besides just a bar chart, and the heat map actually was pretty neat to work with. So that is my project. So thank you for watching.